Now, some of you on Facebook might know that I had a horrible nightmare last night. One of my tornado-type dreams, I dreamt that I was here at home and that there was some type of like hurricane going on outside, because I could see out the window and I could see vertical rain and wind. But as I was passing the back door, I noticed that it was open and unlocked. So I went down to close it properly and lock it just when the storm intensified and like a tornado was coming. And I began to see trees blowing by, and the door sucked shut and sucked my arm in the door and was beginning to warp outward. So I was pinned there, and I was yelling for my family to get into the basement. And then I woke up, and I had my fan on high. And it was that fan noise. Wrong way. Don't tell me I just broke my fan. But it was that high fan noise that was the tornado noise in the dream. Now, before I put on my torturous mask of torture, and no, I will not film myself wearing it, I thought I would talk about something that Christopher asked what I was collecting these days. And I think I told him in an email, but I didn't tell him in a video, that one of the things I was collecting, or want to collect, is vintage Steiff. Now, Steiff is a famous German toy maker, but everything I like is expensive and rare and hard to get. So the Steiff I like, of course, is all pre-World War II, early 1900s, the sort of golden age of Steiff toys. And it usually goes for like $1,000 and up. The old original Steiff teddy bears. It's really ridiculous. I only have this little guy. He is called a Steiff Caesar dog. Now, he's very rare. I don't know if I'd say very rare, but he's rare. He was made in 1910, 1911, and he was patterned after King Edward VII of England's Jack Russell Terrier, who was very beloved to the king, walked in his funeral, and was photographed with him, and he's buried somewhere in one of the palace grounds with the tombstone that says Caesar. And Steiff modeled, for a brief period, these little Steiff Caesar dogs. And I was lucky enough to get one. I got it on eBay. And I didn't get him for over $1,000. I wouldn't have gotten him for over $1,000. I was lucky, and he was priced lower because his back paws at some point had worn away. You know, these are children's toys, and they played with them as children would do. And somebody at some point had patched them with white silk patches. I happen to know a professional restorer of vintage toys who specializes in Steiff restoration, so I sent him to her, and she did a fantastic job. She has a stock of Steiff material, and she was able to match the original, and the original stitching for the pads, the claws. She did a fantastic job. I would like to collect more of these guys. They're rare when they come up, of course. They're very, very pricey. People compete over them because everybody seems to want one for their collection. I was lucky to get this guy. But because kids played with them and they all have various issues of wear, some have more hair left, some have less hair left, some have more fading, been out in the sun more. Some ears stitching has come undone, so the ears will stick up, or maybe just one will stick up. And this gives each individual one character. They don't look like, assembly line toys anymore because they're 100 years old and they've been played with by kids. So that makes each one interesting and each one unique, and I'd like to collect more. The Steiff that I am interested in is this type. This is a five-way jointed stuffed animal. The head swivels, which is one joint, and then each limb swivels. I like those. I do not like the kind that is just stiff. You can't turn the head, you can't turn the arms. I'm not interested in that. That doesn't appeal to me. I like the ones that you can pose, sort of like I'm posing him here. I think that's very cute. So I would like to collect more of him if and when I can find them and if I have the money, Steiff Caesars. But there's also a Steiff Irish Terrier that I have seen, which is basically the same pattern as Caesar, except it's all red mohair fur. I'd like one of those because those are, I think, just as cute as this guy. And of course they're extremely expensive, and they're usually over $1,000 if they're in good condition. My little guy no longer has a tag. He originally had a round tag. And I don't know if it said Caesar or Steiff. I'm not sure about that. But I'd like to collect like a pre-World War II a vintage Steiff teddy bear. I'd like to have one of those, but they're expensive. Even ones in ratty shape can be around $1,000. And I'd like to collect more of the dogs that are five-way jointed, and I'm just very charmed by them. Originally they had squeakers. You could, squeak them and they would squeak. My guy has a squeaker, but it doesn't work anymore. I know, I'm childish and stupid, but I just think it's very cute. And I like to collect more. His limbs aren't as stiff as they used to be. I don't think yours would be either if you were over 100 years old. And that is Steiff Caesar. Now I do have a little guy, a little teddy bear, who is made by Bing. And I think Bing is another German company. I don't think he's English. I think he's German. And that's this guy. He's very cute, but I have him for sale. I think I would like to stick with Steiff. But he is very cute. We'll see. And that's one of the things that I like to collect. I like to collect Buddha things. And I like to collect bonsai. And I still have some of my Suiseki. I haven't bought any for a while. The rocks that look like mountain ranges. I still have some of my Netsuki. I still have Marimo. I still have a Midvani. An anatomically correct resin doll made by Billy Boy, a protege of Andy Warhol. And yeah. I think my Bohemian aunt was a bad influence on me. Okay. Bye. On to wear that stupid ass CPAC mask.